Well, good evening, everybody. Welcome to the WVU Mountaineer post-game show here on the Voice of College Football. Greg Christ, along with Frank Fear. Frank, um, not much you can say. Dismal performance.
Well, we had hope.
We had
We
hope.
had hope. Yeah, it's a work in progress. We talked about that, and it's interesting because a lot of the things we talked about on Wednesday and also the pregame show really came to pass. Particularly as you mentioned, the nimble quarterback,
Yep.
Dampier, and also that third down efficiency. At one point, they were 8 for 8. They're in the
Yeah.
top 10. And on the other hand, Khalil Wilkins really showed some stuff. Seems to have some poise. May not be the best passer in that room, the quarterback room, but it'll be interesting to see what playing time he gets next Friday when we go to Brigham Young.
Yeah. Yeah. If you want to look for a bright spot, he was probably it. And yeah, I'm of the mantra of thinking right now, why not let him play and go ahead and get him in there. And if he's the best, then leave him in there and let him go. I know they look at red shirts and that sort of thing, and I get that. Uh, but he definitely, right now looks like, our best hope. you know, and you know, we talk about Nico all the time, and you know, uh, he hadn't played great, but at the same time, when your offensive line is as porous as ours is, yeah, I'm not sure it would make a whole lot of difference who was back there. Even the nimble guys have a hard time escaping sometimes, and so obviously he throws the ball better than any of them. But yeah, I don't know what you do back there. I believe I would go with Wilkinson, let him play, and just see what happens.
Yep. Jackson Johnson, our good friend from the network, is saying, "What's up, Mountaineer Nation? It's what's down." This
Yeah,
is not a great night, Jackson, but thankfully you're here. And Timothy Green, I put up his comments, Greg. My score prediction was West Virginia 24, Utah 21. And maybe you're just thinking like maybe that's the prediction in 2027 or something. But it didn't work today. In fact, when I got online, let me see. Here's the first one. Um, and I know Timothy has mollified his words a bit, but Randy, Greg, and Frank, and we hope that Randy Flinchum will join us in a few minutes. This is one of the worst WVU teams I have ever seen. I honestly wish I knew the answers. I wish I know what we needed to do, but we just got it. We're just not there. And he's right. Go Mountaineers. It's tough. It's tough.
yeah. The thing is, I was talking to my son. He was at the game, and we were talking, and you just you want to be competitive, and that's what I was telling him. I said, you want your team to go out and at least have a chance, compete, hang in there, have a shot, but Frank, you can tell from the first drive today, and then our first time with the ball, that we had nothing for them. You could see that, and the quarterback ended up. I think he was uh, 21 for 25, I believe. They converted every fourth down that they had. Most of their third downs, um, over 500 yards on offense. I mean, they just ran over us, and I tend to focus on the line play, and our defensive front had been pretty solid, and they were just dominated today. Utah just manhandled them, and it's a little discouraging just because we weren't competitive at all. I mean, in no phase of the game were we competitive. I think they were in the red zone 7 or 8 times and scored every time. Um, so I don't know. It's just frustrating, and you want your team to be competitive, and I knew. Going in, we were going to have the growing pains and that sort of thing. You never knew for sure. After watching us play a couple games, I thought, we're a work in progress. It's going to be a rough year, but we're going to get better. Right now, and I know a lot of it's due to the injuries. We're not really seeing any progress forward. we're taking no steps forward and 2 steps back. So we are regressing instead of progressing so far. And I know a lot of that's due to the injuries, but yeah, you want to see us get better and compete. At least be competitive.
Yeah, and one of the things that we're really seeking is some consistency. We thought we had a really good, now, really good might be too strong, but a satisfactory defense based on the play in the first 2 games. And then the last 2 games, the defense has not been as strong. And when you think about today's game, and I think they may have said it on air, and that is that Utah was, we were being frustrated by their offense. The defense wasn't quite sure what to expect and seemed to be late on a lot of plays. Give credit to Utah because they had to do what Kansas did. Kansas had to come back from being beaten, and so did Utah, had to come back from being beaten. But the road ahead of us, I think, clearly is yet to be paved in the Big 12 because, as you know, Cincinnati, which looks a lot stronger than most of us thought they would be, went into Lawrence and beat them today. Came down and after Kansas had taken the lead and then went right down the field at the end, scored and won. And so now we'll see how they do against Iowa State next week. But and so for us, though, we really don't have any answers. We don't know who the starting quarterback is. We're not really sure. The strength of our defense looks strong, then doesn't look strong. Yeah. And we're just not sure who the running backs are. We had hoped that Ty would be playing today, and he didn't play. But, I think it's putting Humpty Dumpty back on the wall. Anyway, we got a comment here from Larry Owen. While watching the score updates, I was glad I don't have Fox Sports 1. Yeah, I'll tell you, Fox Sports. Yeah, it's
Larry Owens, that's my brother-in-law, Frank.
How about that?
Suffolk, Virginia. Yeah, big fan. Yeah. Consider yourself lucky, Larry.
Yeah, that's right.
It was painful, and like I said, within the first 10 minutes of the game, you knew it was over. I mean, we had no chance, and that's the sad part. We just not competitive, and unfortunately, like you said, the Big 12 is wide open, and you come in with a decent team, you got a shot, and there's some teams playing pretty well right now, but I just thought, when I watched Utah against Texas Tech, I know that they lost and got handled pretty well. But you can still look at their athleticism and their size and their offensive line. They had several seniors on that offensive line, a lot of experience. You could tell they're a pretty good football team. And, I think they executed today, but maybe a lot of it was due to our poor defense, but they were flawless offensively today.
That's right.
It's just like you said, when they ran their plays, it just seemed like we were totally outfoxed. We had no idea where the ball was going, and they would do the play fakes and roll the quarterback out to his left, and there'd be people, on the last touchdown. And again, I know a lot of backups were in the game, but there were 3 guys wide open on that play. It was a fourth. That's right. 4th and goal from the 2 or 3 yard line, and there's 4 guys wide open in the end zone. So everything they did was just. It completely befuddled us, and if you think back to the early part of the game when they're throwing the ball, people were wide open. I mean, we had no pressure on the quarterback. We couldn't cover, So a lot of things that we thought were in decent shape turns out not to be so good after all. Who's that lurking in the background?
Well, My technical abilities have been tested here. I got in the other day when I practiced, but this didn't work. And can I add one thing to what Greg was just saying?
Sure.
Keeping up with the NFL draft is a big hobby of mine too. and I keep up with a couple of draft publications and services. And Utah happens to have two offensive tackles. One of them is Fano.
Yeah.
And the other, gosh, I couldn't remember his name. I think it's Lomu. And they are both projected to be Fano possibly in the first 15 drafted, and Lomu in the is projected to go in the first round also. So, we weren't playing Sisters of the Poor there. Those two tackles they had are NFL material.
Yep. And very good. Yeah, you could tell. I mean, we were just outmatched right there. They were just solid. And Randy, what I was told when the technology starts to get you, you have to become more technically active.
Well, so I thought I was, but obviously I'm going to. I'll keep trying on that.
You're doing great.
Yeah, that's right. You're fine. And if it's texting, then they say you got to be more textually active. So, whatever that means. So
I'm doing that too much. I don't know. Frank did that there. Have I missed anything? Was there anything you all were discussing that I missed out on? Or
before
we were discussing the poor performance by the offense again. And how prior to the game we worried that if our offense didn't stay on the field and sustain some drives that our defense wasn't going to be able to hold up. But then our defense really didn't perform very well either. And, of course, the offense was just abysmal. And, I still attribute all the offensive problems, and I don't necessarily think it's skill for that matter. It's our offensive line is just young, weak, and slow. And they make up for it by not being very smart. So,
guys, this reminds me of my wedding years ago. The best man didn't introduce me to the crowd until the reception. A lot of people may know Randy, but I bet you a lot of people don't. And we're pleased to have Randy with us. Played football at West Virginia University. He played a position he calls a tight tackle. And from what I have been told, if the Mountaineers kept records for onside kicks recovered, Mr. Randy FLINCHUM would be number one on that list.
I returned at least, or I say I returned. I covered at least 3.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
I was a special.
Yeah.
Well, now
your brother. Go ahead.
Somebody changed since those days. Golly, with block and what you can do. It's just such a complete different ball game now.
We've talked about the difference in the game, and I was laughing the other night. We were talking about something, I don't remember what, but watching some videos and seeing the blockers going downfield and cutting people's legs out from under them, and those type of things, and hitting them with their heads and all that. And I said, these guys would be they'd never get to play again if they did some of the things they did back then. So it's definitely changed a ton, no doubt about it.
Well, back in our day, we lined the backs up at about 4.5 yards.
Well, guys, I'm looking at scores here, and as expected, Baylor beat Oklahoma State like a drum, 45-27. Kansas State beat UCF. We expected that by 14. It was that Cincinnati-Kansas game that I think is a real one, 37-34. And Iowa State and Arizona, they just kicked off in Ames. I went back after the game or during the game, I guess, and looked at Rich Rod's record. Coached 19 years. He's only had 4 losing seasons. First year at West Virginia, first and second year at Michigan, and the 5th year at Arizona. And the first year at West Virginia, the first year at U of M, I hope it doesn't come to pass again at West Virginia. He lost 7 of 8 games. So there was a long losing streak in both the first year at WVU and the first year at at University of Michigan. In fact, he went into that 7-game losing streak in West Virginia. They went into it 2-1. So he had a winning record early in that first round and then lost 7 of the next 8 games. But, have you got either of you guys checked social media to see what folks are saying? I did. I can't communicate what I found, but I don't know if you had a chance to look.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, the natives are restless. It may be an understatement, but, it's what have you done for me lately? Richard's going to be here for a while, and I think he'll get it turned around. Gosh, but there's people out there saying that, and then there's a voice of reason or two out there also. We got 80 new players. I still don't know who usually by the 4th game, 5th game, you know who the starters are, and you know who might be a backup here and there. All I know is who the quarterbacks are and who's the guys that got hurt. There's certainly a unique situation we got with the Mountaineers.
Yeah, I told Frank, I said before the game, when you have 80 new players trying to blend them all together and get some chemistry, and then you get bombarded with injuries like we've been, that's a overwhelming task to try to put that back together. And I don't envy him one bit. But as far as people being restless, that's WVU fans. And like you said, it's what have you done for me lately? You got to give. I mean, I don't even know how you could even think about blaming him at this point, or saying you need to get rid of him, whatever. He can't coach, blah blah blah. These guys don't forget how to coach. He haven't forgotten how to coach, and he has to, I think, really have time to get his type of player. He's got, he runs a unique offense where, there's certain body builds, certain speeds, that sort of thing, that he wants, to use. And, coming in like he did and having to totally restock, well, that makes it kind of hard to do. You can't really, pinpoint every single thing and go out there and find them all. If you did, everybody would do that. You can't do it with that many people, I don't think. And, if you think back to his first run at West Virginia, started the same way, and look how it ended. So, people got to be patient. And I hope that, the naysayers will just stay quiet and let him do his thing and get through this year and just keep building and getting better. That's the hope.
Yeah, one of the things that was brought up by several people who watched the game mentioned to me, and it's a tough pill to swallow. Everything you guys are saying makes so much sense. But the tough pill is, if you look at that roster, Randy, and again, we're getting to know who they are, the question then would become, for those who still have eligibility, how many of them will be here next year? Is development a possibility, or is the fit not very good? And someone also said, which I thought was really insightful, we can continue to use and will continue to use the portal. But when you think about Rich Rod and his system in particular, you got to think about those high schoolers coming in, hopefully being able to use no money to keep them so they don't leave. And so you have an opportunity for them to develop in the system rather than a rent a player in and out kind of situation. Because one of the things that nobody wants to really talk about, and I don't blame them, is to use the T word. That is the talent that is on the squad generally up to what you expect and need to have in power football. And with the offensive line, we were beaten badly again on defense in a variety of ways, as Greg said. A lot of those guys were open, so either we're not understanding the schemes or not able to sort of man up in terms of what the situation is. Guys are playing hard. I mean, Fred Perry, my God, he's out there playing hard, and the effort was there. But the question is, and I think it's a legitimate question. You'd like to believe this is a one-year thing only, but we may have to repeat pretty much what we've gone through this past year, with a lot of folks leaving, a lot of folks coming in, and beyond what you ordinarily would expect given the new realities of football. I don't know if you guys think the same way or not, but those are my thoughts.
Well, if you look
Yeah, and Frank, like
at
you said at the beginning on the pregame, it's just not bringing players in that can play. They got to learn the system, and again, he has a unique system. It just takes time, and I don't know what the answer is. How do you use the portal and get new people in? You got to teach them that system still, and it just takes time, and tough situation for us to be in, and again, with this NIL as it is and the portal, you worry that we become a training ground. If you try to get players in and develop them, when you develop them into a good player, they transfer and go somewhere where they're getting paid more, and that's worrisome too. So, a lot of problems, a lot of things to think about.
Well, I think you're right about that part, and I don't think there's anything we can do about that. I mean, if with the Cooper guy giving Texas Tech $300 million, and you think about Utah,
Yep.
the 4 dealers in the state of Utah gave every player on scholarship a new F-150. I don't know if it was last year or the year before. Yep. Changing hands out there. Now, I think we've got a good recruiting class coming in. I think good young players there, and we're going to have to step up to the plate too, and and try to do everything we can to keep them. If you look at our depth chart right now, I mean, there are tons of seniors who are number 1s, number 2s, and number 3s. We're going to lose a bunch of guys off this team if for no other reason than they're seniors. And then you turn right around and then look at people that might come bidding for the.
Sound like he's cutting out on us, Frank. I don't know. Are you having trouble hearing?
No, he's coming through okay on this end.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, and we got a ton of seniors in the depth chart we're going to lose. And then people are going to come bidding for some of our guys on the team now too. So, every year there's going to be turnover, and I'm sure Rich Rod's a pretty sharp guy on that, and he'll come up with a way to handle it. I think we can be still competitive. I think we can win in the Big 12. We just got to get started, get this year out of the way, and see where we wind up next year. One other thing, spring ball, we had basically 10 days in pads with these guys. Now, we had winter workouts and agility drills and drills, in shorts and all that. But until fall camp, we still didn't know about who was going to hit, who was not, who could run and hit and all those things. And, man, we were a work in progress when this season started. I'm encouraged with a couple of the younger quarterbacks, Wilkins and Scotty Fox both. I think a year in the program, and I think they can both move, and they can both throw. I'm really encouraged there. We didn't. I was kind of keep taking notes during the game. Our tailback did not run the ball until 11:24 the second quarter. We went the whole first quarter and a fourth of the second quarter without the daggone tailback carrying the ball. Clay Ash finally got a run there at 11:24. We ran the quarterback at least 3 times. We ran Gallagher and whoever else there on those jet sweeps 6 times. The backs aren't there right now. Now, I was encouraged with the little guy we had in there at the end too, Dior. I'm not sure what his last name was now.
Hubbard.
Hubbard, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's. I keep using the word work in progress, but I think there's some guys out there that need reps and need a year. And again, I'm not discouraged about what's going to happen. I can't say that it'll happen this year, but I think we'll keep working.
One of the other guys that came through that we talked about in the pregame show was Cam Vaughn. He had not been able to get open much, but today, I mean, he had a monster day. 62 yards, 21 yard average with a long of 40. Between Vaughn and Gallagher, they caught 5 balls. There were only 6 receptions from the wideouts, and they had 5 of the 6. He looked good out there. Again, we don't know as the game went on to what extent they kept their first team in or
Right.
what level of play Utah had. But, you know, I knew almost nothing about Wilkins, guys. And
Yeah.
so I went to the website, and he played in a really, I shouldn't say he played in a really good league in Washington, because one of the things I found is I think he may have played for as many as 4 high schools in the Washington area. And I think he finished up at a private school, but he put up some pretty big numbers, and not just running the ball either. And so would it be outrageous to think about him actually starting next week? I mean, he's not a freshman per se, he's a redshirt freshman. But if Nico can't play, and then we should talk about Henderson. I didn't think he looked particularly good out there, didn't look confident.
Right.
And it's just, what did you think about Henderson? Greg, what did you think about Henderson's play?
Yeah, I thought, obviously he's mobile and can move and all that, but I'm like you, he didn't look like he had a lot of confidence, especially throwing the ball. And his a little slow with his decision making. A couple of his runs, he probably could have had a lot better if he'd went earlier. But yeah, I thought he lacked the confidence to play. And, Wilkinson seemed like he stepped in and was unfazed. I thought he played pretty well. And I don't know why you wouldn't give him a shot next week. I mean, just like I said before the game, your production is not going to be any worse. You can't get much worse than what we are on offense right now. So why not try it and see if it maybe gives us a little bit of a spark? And back to what Randy was saying about the runs. I mean, my son called during the game and said, "Dad, are we just going to run the quarterback option and jet sweep every play?" And I said, "Well, kind of looks that way, don't it?" And yeah, you wonder where's our tailbacks? Didn't you think? Well, half of them are hurt, and I don't know. It's just a monumental hill to climb, and I'm like Randy though. I still have faith, and I think I got faith that Rich Rod will get this thing turned around. And we didn't have high expectations, I don't think, coming into the season. I think some people did, but when I heard that we were having to bring in all these players and we'd lost so many people, I knew we might be in a little bit of trouble. And so I'm like Randy. I haven't lost faith. I think we're going to be okay. We just gotta hang in there.
Yeah, well, when you think that 3 of our offensive linemen who would be playing are down at Virginia Tech, we lost it to Samarco to Alabama. That's some guys that had some experience from last year and could help us a lot this year. But, I mean, they're gone. I don't know if that line coach that went to Tech, I don't know if those guys will stay there now or not, or if he'll stay. And another thing, Landon Livingston, our starting center, he didn't start to, I don't know if he played at all. I know that he wasn't in the list to start also. So we had another new lineman in there. But, these are not the best of times, but they're not the worst of times. I'm a Mountaineer, and I'm still with the guys there. I hope we keep fighting. I thought the effort was still good. I thought we made mistakes, but I didn't see anybody laying around or loafing or turning anything down today. I saw some good hits from the defense, and I saw guys trying to block. I think we met as Pogo said way back when, we met the enemy, and he is us right now.
Yeah, we lost. Something happened to Greg. He'll be back, I'm sure. Yeah, I think you're right. Is trying to make sense out of this. That's digestible. And as you were talking, I went back and looked and say, okay, how did the Big Ten how did the former Mountaineers do in the Big Ten? And they did pretty well today. In fact, big wins by Ohio State and big win, huge win by Illinois. Oh my God. Given the fact they got their fannies beaten last week in Indiana.
I lost money.
Yeah, yeah, that
Well,
was a huge. Yeah, go
did
ahead.
Martinsburg make any catches for Illinois today? Did he? I know he's been playing, but
Yeah, I was just looking at the Clement, 2 catches, 19 yards, 10-point average, basically a 10-yard average, longest 11. And Donaldson was the second leading, I think, the second leading rusher for the Buckeyes. Let me bring it up here. Box score. He had 39 yards, 40 yards on 10 carries, so about a 4-yard average. His long was 11. Bo Jackson, not that Bo Jackson, but Ohio State's Bo Jackson, got 80 yards, and so he was the second leading. There's Greg. He's back. Second leading rusher. So it's good. That shows we had talent because those two guys were picked up really quickly, and so. We were just talking, Greg, about the former Mountaineers and how Donaldson did well for Ohio State, and it's you still want to root for them even though they're no longer with West Virginia.
Yeah. Well, you look at last week with Latham. He had a great game against us last week, and there's Mountaineers all over the place, and I think you mentioned someone in the Illinois game today. Forgot his name now, but yeah, he had a good game today. And Randy was talking about the number of linemen we lost to Virginia Tech, and I kind of laughed. I'm watching their game right now. They're playing NC State, and their offensive line is looks about like ours. So maybe we didn't lose a whole lot there, but we didn't get anything in return. So,
Yeah.
But there's just. I think that's something that a lot of people really missed. And I think when we had Randy on back summer, whenever it was, we talked about this, and that is the quality of players that we lost. We lost some really good players, and we lost some good players off the defensive line, the offensive line, skill positions. We lost good players, from a lot of different places. And, that even in a normal year, that's hard to overcome, even if you don't have to retool the entire roster and teach a whole new system. And that plays into it as well. And but like you said, these guys, and I'm like you, Frank, I still pull for them and hope they perform well. But again, it'd be nice to have some of them back. That's for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm looking at some of the national games here, guys. Any of these games surprise you? Kirk Cignetti continues to do it in Indiana. They blew out Illinois last week. They went to Iowa. Of course, Iowa, they eat stones for breakfast, those players. They came and they won the game 20-15. So Indiana probably will go into the top 10. Texas A&M, which has been up and down at home, beat Auburn by 6. And maybe the big surprise of the day, other than Illinois beating Southern Cal, is Ole Miss beating LSU by 5, 24-19. LSU, I thought, was overrated. I don't know if you guys think that. They were number 4. And so, Kirk Cignetti continues to amaze, I think, football fans by the ability to come into a program that just couldn't win. I think historically is an under 500 team, and then just basically turns them around immediately and is continuing that this year.
Yeah, I ran into a guy at the farmer's market today, had an Indiana football T-shirt on. And I told him he cost me money last week. I bet on Illinois. I told him I'd sure bet on Indiana today. And he said it's amazing how much hope Cignetti has brought to the state of Indiana. He said in football and in everything. He said it's just the state is just things are much more positive in the state of Indiana because of the state of their football program. I remember back now I go this I just remember football stuff. This guy and I were talking, and I said, well, the last time Indiana had a good football team was, I think, when John Pont was the coach and Harry Gonzo was the quarterback and John Eisenberger played linebacker or something there. I remember seeing those guys on the Tonight way back in I guess the early 70s or something. And,
well, you played there, Randy, right?
Oh yeah,
I remember that.
Yeah, my see. That's when my buddy Dickie Roberts took a thumping there by that middle linebacker from Indiana. Yeah, I think we won something like 14-10 or 17-13,
right.
something like that. Heck of
Yeah.
a crowd too.
Yeah, that was Jim Braxton. Not only caught the winning touchdown pass, but he was the place kicker.
Yeah.
Shows you how times have changed. But yeah, that was a rough go. You had a rough go against Indiana and also against Kentucky. Neither
Oh,
team was particularly good, but you played them on the road, and they gave you everything you could have
yeah. That
wanted.
was
Both of those games.
yeah. In '69, Kentucky actually beat us. Mike Slater intercepted 4 passes in a monsoon playing there in Kentucky, at Kentucky, and we were up 7-0. Kentucky scored to make it 7-6, and they went for 2 and
Right.
threw a swing pass to a back, and he caught it and scored. But they called offensive pass interference. Their tight end came down inside and blocked the linebacker that was coming out to cover the back out of the backfield. And it was a 15-yard penalty, and they had to go again, and we held them and wound up beating them 7-6. Wow. I played in that game there.
Yeah, yeah. Those were the days, Greg. I'll tell you.
Yeah. 7-6. I don't know. Wonder if there's been a game in the last 5 years that was 7-6.
Yeah.
You don't see many
Yeah,
of those.
you know, when you see Indiana and you see that, it kind of gives us hope. I think, you look at programs. I would say West Virginia, historically is leaps and bounds ahead of Indiana as far as football is concerned.
As far as wins, yeah. A funny thing about that, Coach Fligg and I, they had a banquet at the '69 Peach Bowl, and Coach Fligg and I sat at the table with that official that made that call. He sat between us there, and Coach Fligg didn't tell me who it was till afterwards. But that was a heck of a coincidence there for us.
Yeah, that's great. Great story. But yeah, it does give us some hope. Like I said, the program's kind of parallel, and if it can be done at Indiana, why can't it be done at West Virginia?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I was thinking also, Randy, about you and your background. You're from War, correct?
War, West Virginia, Big Creek High School.
Yeah. Wow, fantastic. And then you were a coach there. You coached high school in Virginia. In fact, you followed your high school coach. Is that correct? To Virginia, and then succeeded him as a head coach.
Well, no, I followed. I played for Joel Hicks, great coach, great guy there. I met him when I was 14, and we were friends for the rest of his life there. I played for him there at Big Creek. Then he went to Beckley, and then he came to WVU and was on Signetti's staff. And that's how I wound up on Signetti's staff there in Morgantown. And then Joel left and went to Pulaski County High School. We developed a couple. Randy Dunnigan played at WVU. King Harvey played at WVU. Gary Clark played at James Madison, and then went on to play for the Redskins. And then I left Pulaski and went to Abingdon High School down here on the Tennessee line and coached there. I didn't succeed Joel at Pulaski County. And,
so I'm talking to 2 coaches today. That's damn good.
Yeah. Just look at how we compare. You can tell we were coaches.
That's right. That's right. And Frank, I'll tell you something else too. When Randy talks about coaching down there, like Pulaski, I'm pretty familiar with that. I've been to a few games there. My sister lived there for a long time, and you go over to a game, and it's almost like watching small college football. The atmosphere, the number of people that's there, and of course, back when I was going to watch them, they were winning state championships too. I don't know what I ever did with that. I had a shirt. Pulaski County High School, what was the Indians, I believe, state champions, whatever year that was.
We're the Cougars.
Cougars. That's right, Cougars. Cougars, Indians are that close, same thing, I guess. But yeah, I had a shirt there. I had that on there, and I'd go and watch them play, and just big time football. I'll tell you that right now, and a lot of fun to go in that place and watch a game. But now I never did go to Abington, but I'm sure it was pretty similar, I would guess.
There, good facilities. Didn't quite have as much speed as we had at Pulaski County.
Yeah.
Didn't quite have as much of that, but we had some good times here. Good enough.
Oh yeah.
Coach for 30 years, you'll have some good times, some high times and some low times.
Oh yeah.
Well, you go back in history. I got to say, you go back in history, guys. Big Creek High School is one of those schools that in West Virginia lore will always be in the history books. Unfortunately, it no longer exists, right, Randy? It's consolidated now. But boy, I was reading something a year or so ago about the incredible talent, you're being one, that came out of that school, the number of wins that school had. It's just right up there.
Well, they call Big Creek the Owls because I think we were the first team in the state to have lights and play night games too.
Wow.
That's about 1933 or so there now. Going way back. Way back.
You didn't play on that team, did you?
No, I wasn't.
Hey, Frank, I gotta be careful. I gotta forget that's.
Guys, I've been poring over these stats for today's game, and I'm trying to think of what do we talk about. Yeah. The thing though, Greg, you and I talked about this forever. Oliver Straw's first 2 punts averaged 30 yards.
Yep.
Yeah.
What do you make of that?
Yeah, I don't know what's, it's odd because, he was so efficient last year and he's getting plenty of chances this year. I don't know. You have to wonder if he may have some sort of injury or who knows, but yeah, he's just not performing well at all. And when you got an offense like we have, you kind of depend on that to help you out with some field position.
Have a good punt.
Yeah, he got.
His first punt was off the left hash, and he kicked. Yeah. He really hit it long, but golly, when the officials started stepping off, I thought, gosh, he's not going to stop. I bet he walked 25, almost 50 yards back up the sideline on that first one.
Yeah, I think he went up to the 26 or 27, I think.
Oh, it was, I might have been more than that. It didn't help us. Yeah. It didn't help us at all there.
Yeah, even the commentators said something about it that, you look for that to get field position. We didn't get it.
That led to their first touchdown, I think.
Yeah. I'm looking here, guys, at the stats, and he ended the day averaging 36.7.
Ugh.
That's got to be probably, 15 yards or so off his average? I mean, that's 36.7.
I'd say so. I would say
so.
And
those are not pooch kicks either. I mean, we're not in good enough field position to be, trying to kick it to out of bounds or anything. Those are actual punts, most of them. I don't remember too many when he's tried to pin people down. Yeah. So, that tends to take away from the average, but I don't remember too many of those, and definitely not today.
Well, and Utah did not punt once. No punts. Nope. No punts. That's a bad sign.
I know they were, I know at one time they were 142 left, I think, in the third quarter. They were 7 for 7 on third downs.
Yeah.
Of course, converting third down. So I guess that's for sure they didn't. They just sure didn't punt much.
And they were 4 for 4 on fourth down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And in the red zone, they were, I think, 7. When they got it in the red zone, I think they were 7 for 7 scoring.
Yeah. I'm looking at the stats right now, guys. Third down and fourth down efficiency together, they were 11 out of 14.
Whoa.
Yeah. And we talked about this, Randy, in the pregame and also Wednesday, because they're so high in the national rankings, like 7th. They're going to be higher than that. I mean, that's phenomenal. As Greg said, 3 for 3, fourth down, and then they ended up 8 for 13. But that's when they made the substitutions. They were 8 for 8, so they missed their last 5 conversions on third down. They were at one point they were 11 for 11 between third down and fourth down. That's unbelievable.
Yeah. And again, Frank, we were talking before Randy got on about the offense. The Utah's offense just seemed to have our defense way off balance with no idea what was coming at them. And, one of those third and fourth down plays, I recall several of them where it would be, even one of them was 4th and 7, but 3rd and 7, 3rd and 9, and they would run a play and have somebody, wide open for 10 yards, and they get that first down. And it's just like our defense was really off balance all day. They didn't know what was coming at them or which way it was coming from.
Well, it makes plays easy to call when you can block them now.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
Utah came into the game. I think they were 39th in the country in scoring and 19th in total defense. And I think there's no question they were the best team, the best team we played so far.
Yeah. Guys, I didn't you brought it up in the pregame. Greg, I'm looking at it now for the first time. Did Pitt win? They lost.
No, Louisville beat them.
They beat them. 34-27.
Yeah, I think Pitt was
a little bit of a surprise there. We were talking earlier. Duke just beat Syracuse like a drum, 38-3. And as you mentioned, Greg, before the show, Georgia Tech came back in overtime and beat Wake Forest 30-29. That was Wake Forest looked like they were going to win that game, but they didn't. Georgia Tech came back. So, and then as you also said in the pregame show, don't know if you saw that game last night, Randy. That Florida State game, Virginia. Wow.
Yeah, I had a former student call me from the game there and said, "Are you watching this?" And it was great. I had bet on Florida State, but hey, I was sure glad to see UVA come back and win that one. I think everybody in our football pool bet on Florida State, so I didn't mind.
Yeah. Just a little side note on that, Frank. I was reading that in the paper today that or on the internet or something where they had, I think 15 people end up going to the hospital with injuries, and the receiver for Florida State that the last play of the game got trampled on down there where he was at. And, when that happened, I thought somebody's going to get killed in this melee. It was a mess. And I forget how many arrests they said they made, but pretty wild scene there. And that, that crowd was crazy loud.
Well, when he caught it, boom, they were out on that field. Man.
Oh, yeah. Immediately.
Yeah.
Immediately. It was a good football game. It's hard to tell watching these games. I've been watching, flipping around all day. It's hard to tell who really is, really, really good. It's there's just so many teams that are, the same. Is Georgia good? Is Alabama good? Is LSU good? They got beat today. So it really just seems like there's nobody really standing out, as a front runner right now.
I think everybody liked LSU because they beat Clemson, but that's proved to be not a very big win at all. For them. And
Frank, like he said, was that felt like LSU was a little bit overrated. I said in the pregame that, with this NIL and the transfer portal, I think it's going to, your upper echelon teams are going to stay there because they have the money.
You're right.
But I think that the transfer portal gives others in that upper echelon an opportunity to snatch players back and forth. So I think those teams are going to stay good, but I think you're going to see a little bit more parity between them. In other words, you're not going to see a Georgia be totally dominant. They'll be really, really good, but they won't be dominant. Same way with Alabama and all these upper echelon teams. And then for others, like West Virginia and Cincinnati and those teams, you get players and develop them. I think this portal really hurts teams like us,
Mhm.
you know, in the end.
More than
You
others.
know, that's right. You know, you were saying, guys, about the rushing of the field. Our friend Hillary Jeffries, who works for the National Football Foundation, she basically is the administrator for the College Football Hall of Fame. Hillary went to WVU. She's a fantastic person. About a couple of hours ago, she posted on Facebook. She said, "I am pleased to announce that I have been self-appointed as the new college field rushing czar. Fan bases need to contact me with 2 minutes remaining to receive permission or denial. Therefore, in the power invested in me, I have fined the University of Virginia and the University of Illinois, and you will be receiving letters in the mail. And if you don't comply, things will get worse for you." And she said, she closes the post by saying, "Please make your checks payable to Czar Jeffries." We got a contact. That was great because, yeah, I was thinking about this last night.
The ACC has a pretty hefty fine when they do that, but they don't care.
But you could get trampled. I was thinking, what if you're in the front and you fall down, or in the back and they just run over you? Oh my God.
Well, they said that's what happened with all these folks that ended up in the hospital.
Yeah.
They had, I think they said, well, they declared it, and I forget the word they use now, but when you have so many people going to an emergency room at the same time, same hospital, they declare it something. I forget what they called it. And they declared that with this. I mean, it's usually with other disasters, plane crashes or whatever, or big wrecks or something like that. And they declared one of those in Virginia because of it. And I think they said at the last count there were 15 people that had been admitted in the emergency room. Some of them were serious. And also, they didn't count the number of people that were treated on the field or taken outside the stadium and treated. And they said it was pretty bad, really, in all seriousness. Not joking about it, but they said it was bad. And that Florida State receiver, like I said, sustained a pretty serious injury too, from what I understand.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's the school's responsibility.
Yeah.
But you could see they were getting ready. As they panned the field, man, I go.
They were at the end line now.
Yeah.
The goal there.
Yeah.
And Frank, on that note.
Well, I'm looking at the clock. We got to wind down here in a few minutes, guys. What do we think as we're wrapping this up?
What's the big question? What's the big question?
Go ahead, Randy. I'm sorry.
Yeah, just what's the big question for the next game? Is it who starts at quarterback? Is it get the good tailback back? Is he, is he going to be good to go? We got a couple of questions. I hope nobody else is hurt.
Yeah.
That, to me, the quarterback question is the big one.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Greg?
And Frank, before I talk about that real quickly, we were talking about the field rushing thing. I was going to tell you, I know a lot of people say, how do you stop that? When you got 65,000 people all going in the same direction to rush the field. I can tell you from experience, not that I rushed the field, but in 88, when the Mountaineers were undefeated, the Penn State game that year, the crowd rushed the field and there was still time left on the clock, and they just ended the game basically. And they warned people, don't do that, don't do that. So me and my buddies, who all had season tickets, of course, we were in that second level, so we were wonder how they're going to try to stop that. Well, about 3 minutes before the last game ended, I think it was the Syracuse game, about 3 minutes before the game ended, out of nowhere appeared about 30 state troopers with German Shepherds. And it's just like they appeared in the end zones. And I'm like, check that out. Guess what? And nobody rushed on the field. So
that's right.
They stopped it real quick.
No, that's a great story. Well, the school's responsible. And so that's a responsible reaction.
Yeah, they stopped it. And it didn't happen. I don't know that it's happened since then. But anyway, as far as next week goes, you just like Randy said, you got to wonder who's going to be at quarterback. Are we going to have any of our players back? We lost our center, our starting running back, our second team running back, our quarterback. Are we going to get healed up any and have some players back? And then you have to worry about, what type of approach we're going to have and what level of enthusiasm we're going to have and motivation and that sort of thing. Yeah. You hope we come out and play hard. I don't think that's going to be an issue. which is another point I want to make. Watching the Virginia-Florida State game last night, one thing I kept thinking was these guys are so soft. They don't hit hard, And watching West Virginia, I know a lot of times we can't catch them, but when we do, we really hit them. And we're pretty physical, and which is good to see. So, but you worry about our motivation and how energetic we're going to be for this game. You hope that we don't lose that part of it.
Exactly.
Yeah, well, I like what both of you have said, and BYU is a lot like Utah. They're playing tonight. They're undefeated. They're playing at Colorado. That game doesn't start until they're all late games out there. I think that game starts about 10:30, 10:15 on ESPN. That'll be a game to watch. That's a tough place to play because, in Provo, BYU football is it.
Yes,
and so, absolutely. Now, I want to say this, Greg, it was close, but we may have to get Hillary Jeffries in on this. Is that I'm putting up the predictions we have every week, Randy. We make predictions, and Greg is up 2-1 on Mickey and me. But look at now. The thing about that you wouldn't know is that Greg went first on Wednesday night, and he predicted 36-21, and then Mickey followed and went. Yeah, 35-17. 35-17. And I went in next and I said 34-16, but they threw it out. Anyway.
Hey, Frank.
Yeah.
I officially make you the czar of our picking, and I think Mickey should be penalized at least 10 points for unsportsmanlike conduct.
I'll have to agree with it.
Because he won. We've got to take the winner. He stepped out of bounds. He came back in, caught the ball, but he was given he won. What was it? I wrote it down here. It was close too. I think it was like 3 points. Let me see if I can find it. I did the math, the calculations of it. Yeah, he was. You were 19 points off the total score, and he was 16. So he won by 3. So, what are you going to do? So, let me take this off. As I was laughing there, I pushed the wrong button. But we've got to talk about next week.
Yep.
Now.
Could I say one thing about playing BYU? I think it was last year. I never saw a team with more sportsmanship. I never saw a visiting team act the way they did there. I thought they were just super
class act.
Super class act. They deserve a lot of credit and everything. And I was just impressed with them there.
Unlike Kansas.
Yes.
When that defensive coordinator got in Marchio's grill, that was totally inappropriate.
Yeah. On that line Randy's talking about, I worked with a guy whose wife worked in the alumni center. She was one of the people responsible for taking care of the opposing team's fans and that sort of thing when they got there. And she said those were the nicest people she had ever been around.
Yeah.
Wow.
So hats off to them. Need more.
Very good. Very good.
Tennessee just beat Mississippi State in overtime, 41-30.
Wow. Close game.
Yeah.
Thank you. Well, we all got to remember, Randy, Greg and I were talking about it in the pregame show, that we have a short week because next week's game is on Friday night at 10:30. And so we'll be on with the pregame live BYU at 9 o'clock to 10 o'clock next week. We're not going to do a post-game show because heck, that would be like at 2 o'clock in the morning. Yeah. So we'll have information about that later. But just a reminder, join us next Friday night.
Yes, sir.
At 9 o'clock. And then here's a guy I think you have heard of before who's going to be our guest next Wednesday night.
Terry.
The great Terry Bob.
Yes, sir. Yeah, Terry will be a lot of fun on there.
Yeah.
Terry.
Yeah, we've had Tommy on. He was Tommy sang for us. He was great, and so we're looking forward to having Terry with us. So please join us live on Wednesday night, not only on the Voice of College Football, but also on the New River Network. It'll be a lot of fun.
We'll put it up on Facebook.
Yep. There you go.
Oh, yeah.
Sure
It's
will.
on Facebook. Yep.
Yep. Facebook, YouTube, Roku. You can watch it all kinds of places.
Yeah.
Randy, we appreciate you dropping in with us tonight, giving us some insight. We appreciate that. Frank, as always, great job. And we appreciate everybody for tuning in and watching the post-game show. We look forward to coming to you Wednesday night with Terry Bowden. That'll be a lot of fun. Hope you'll tune in for that. And then, of course, Friday, pregame show, 9 o'clock Friday night. So, Mountaineer fans, hang in there. We're going to be all right. So we'll talk to you and get you pepped up again on Wednesday. So have a great evening, everybody. And let's go Mountaineers.
All right. Good night, guys.
Good night.